All right, Longhorn fans, it's Lucky Lowe coming at you again today from Santa Ana, California. I'm at Mater Dei High School with Coach Bruce Rollinson on your right, and Eoghan Kerry, his star outside linebacker. Coach Eoghan, thank you for visiting with us. Coach, you're coming up on a new season, and the guy on your right is going to play a big part in your season.
Yeah, we're fortunate to have Eoghan. He walked in here as a transfer, pretty good size. I think we've put a few pounds and a little bit of muscle on him, but he was raw, but he was energetic and he wanted to be coached. I started telling college recruiters early on that his upside was tremendous because he was behind at our level of football, but he has fast forwarded. He's still got some game experience coming up, which I think will be very beneficial to him as a Longhorn.
So, Eoghan, congratulations on your verbal commitment to Texas. How do you feel about it?
Super excited. I'm just happy to have the opportunity to have my college paid for and to play at such a great school.
Yeah. You pulled the trigger on your verbal commitment fairly quickly. Why so quick?
So I wanted to commit before the season, even before I had the Longhorns offer, just insurance in case, God forbid, an injury happens. That way I'm already have my school chosen. And once I got the Texas offer, that was one of my dream schools. So with Coach Rollo's permission, I just pulled the trigger.
Fantastic. Longhorn fans are excited to have you. Talk about your visit to Austin in, I believe it was late July, how all that went down.
Yeah, it was beautiful. So I went for the barbecue and the pool party, which was a lot of fun. There were probably 40 other kids there, a lot of commits. So I got to connect with some of the kids like Connor Robertson, Cole Hudson, Malik Murphy, just some of the commits that'll be in my class. And it was a lot of fun. I got to hang out with the coaches. I got to swim with the recruits. I got to see their facilities, even though they're still under construction. And I just loved Austin. Beautiful town. I love the river. I love the outdoor side. And then I also love that there's a city a block away from campus, so super nice.
Yeah, and Coach, knowing that he's got a place to go after he finishes up here, and in fact, he's going to be finished early, is he not?
I believe so. Yeah, that's the plan, unless he screws it up in the classroom.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen. Eoghan, if you will, talk about your visit with the coaches there. Talk about your time with Sark and with Coach K, especially because that's the side of the ball you're going to be playing on, obviously.
Absolutely. So starting off with Coach Sark, that was really cool. I actually chose to stay and watch the team work out, which a lot of people didn't do. And Coach Sarkisian came down and was watching, so I got the chance to connect with him like one-on-one, which I think was really beneficial. So we got to have really personable conversation, got to talk about why he chose Austin and what he loves there. And then that's also where I met Coach PK. And I just love his defense. It's so complex, it's basically an NFL defense. And I love how that'll translate for hopefully the next level after college. And I love the visibility it'll give me on the field so that NFL teams can look at me and say, wow, we can see him fitting into our scheme.
His backer positions have the opportunity to do a lot in that defense. How does it fit your playing style?
One thing I love is the versatility in Coach PK's defense. They're looking for me to play Mike, and their Mike linebacker plays in the box. He'll come down and blitz. He'll come play on the line of scrimmage off the edge and rush the passer. And then he'll drop hook to curl to flat, and play in space or even man up on a slot. And so I really think that it allows me to do a lot of things Coach Rollo lets me do and Coach EJ let me do. And I think that it'll be a good fit for me.
So, Coach, how is he coming along with all those things that backers at the next level have to do?
When we first got him, he was so raw. And then and he's laughing because he knows exactly what I'm saying. What he's first of all done is learn that there's 10 other guys and just do your job. And he does his job well. Now the athleticism and the knowledge of the position is coming to him. Now his athleticism can translate. Now it's about taking all of that and not just making plays, but make big plays. And I think he's capable of that. We had a short season, 5 games in the spring, and he showed very, very well. And now the growth continues, and we look for big things from him. I mean, he has to be a dominant player. You don't go to the University of Texas as a ho-hum guy. Okay, they'll blow you out of the water, and you'll be on the end of the bench. I think he, again, will continue to grow at the university level, but he's going to bring a lot of skill with him.
Oh, and are you finding that things are beginning to come more instinctively to you now that you're not having to spend so much time thinking about your job and just doing it?
Absolutely, yeah. Like you said, you just don't think. The game slowed down a lot, especially learning from people who have been coaching great players for so long, like Coach Johnson and Coach Rollo. You know, I kind of just step on the field with the 10 other guys, and we all know what we have to do. And it's like a well-oiled machine, you know. We flow, and it feels really good. It slows down.
So I understand that your connection, your attraction to Texas goes way back. Talk about that.
So most of my family's from Texas. My mom's, almost her entire side of the family was born in Dallas. They grew up in Southlake, and they actually went to Southlake Carroll. And my uncle is a UT alum. He graduated in 91. And so I'm almost a legacy, not quite, since he's not my parent. But it was a lot of fun. He's been giving me Texas gear since before I was born. And I remember growing up in the house, seeing people wear burnt orange. And now I get to put it on every Saturday, starting next year.
Fantastic. Talk about your vitals. Where are you physically right now?
So like Coach Rollo
I
said,
didn't wait.
Yeah.
Start there.
So they put a couple pounds on me. I'm about 235, right about 6'3".
So, Coach, talk about your season coming. Last year, of course, you practically blown out of the water by COVID.
Yeah.
This season, you were hoping for more, but I understand that there's still some bumps in the road.
Well, yeah, first of all, I didn't even know his family was from Texas. And I knew it was his dream school, Rick, and that even makes it, a better decision in my mind. The season, I feel like I'm a little bit back in COVID, and sometimes I get to feel like this is going to be the regular season. Right now, the Monarchs are scheduled on paper for 7 games. I'll ink a contract probably tomorrow morning to play the 8th game. So it's going to be different. I couldn't get 2 other opponents. And travel is a little bit restricted.
And you have a game in Texas coming up. Right?
I have a big game coming up in Texas, and 2 weeks. We'll fly out of here a week from this Thursday and find out what all this Texas football is all about. And, I'll bring my little old Monarchs in there and have some fun in Duncanville. But we're excited about it, and I'm excited for the kids to have an opportunity to travel like this and to play a top program in the nation, and let's see where we stack up.
Absolutely. So, Owen, what are your hopes personally this year? What do you want to accomplish personally?
First and foremost, I just want to show gratitude to Coach Rollo and his program for bringing me in here and allowing me to flourish. So when I'm on the field, I want to exemplify what it means to be a Monarch. I want to play with pride, poise, and courage, which is what the 3 stripes on our helmet are for. And then aside from that, I just want to be able to give 100% for the 10 of the guys on the field with me and the 11 guys on offense. I just want to have a great season. I want to show everyone that I belong here.
So you made a verbal to Texas. Did that come, I'm assuming that came before the news broke that they're moving to the SEC. And regardless of when it took place, how do you feel about that move?
Super excited. I think at the moment they're supposed to move in 2025. But I think we're all kind of fingers crossed that it happens before then. But even if it doesn't happen until 2025, I would get my senior year playing against the top competition in the nation. Get to play against SEC teams like Georgia, Alabama, Florida, which are just full of NFL talent guys. And I think that's a huge upside because it'll show coaches in the NFL that Texas can hang with them.
Coach, what are your thoughts on what appear to be a bunch of super conferences on the horizon here? SEC is probably a super conference now with the addition of Texas, Oklahoma. What do you see happening in college football along those lines?
Well, college football is the scene of college football is going to change dramatically with name, image, and likeness. And obviously, the haves are going to get more and the have-nots are going to get less. Let's face it, it's money. It's political and it's financial. And I would do the exact same thing. I would put my university in the best position to make the most money, get the most exposure for your brand, not just your football brand, your university's brand. But you and I are going to be watching a whole different breed of college football 5 years from now. I truly believe that. I don't know what's going to happen to the next level of college football, and that concerns me. in the fact that I've got a lot of kids that play at that level. I don't, I'm blessed to have, a few other Eoghan Kerrys, but I also have a whole flight of kids that want to play at the next level. I think, the powers, if the presidents of the universities can keep control of it, because you and I know there's not much juice left in the NCAA. So they're going to have to create a governing body, which I see as the presidents of the universities. I have no knowledge of that. I just know you take educated men, trust your coaches, get the input for the good of college football.
So, Eoghan, that sounds really exciting because it just seems that college football is getting bigger and grander. It's almost like a second NFL if you look at it closely. But in the meantime, you're still a high schooler. You're going to be playing at Texas from all appearances. Are you thinking about getting in the ears of some of your teammates here at Mater Dei, or some of the other guys you may have close connections to at other schools?
Absolutely. So, I've been talking it up with especially CJ. He just committed to Notre Dame, but trying to flip him to Texas. I'm in Ralik's ear. I'm in Damani's ear. I just kind of talking to everybody, trying to recruit and do my part.
What are you most enthusiastic about as you head to Austin? You talked about the city. You talked about the program. As you look past these next few months, because you're going to be an early enrollee, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So you'll be there sooner than you know it. What are you most enthused about?
I haven't really had time to think about it. Right now my focus is still with my team right now, the Monarchs, just focusing on getting ready for the season. So I haven't spent too much time thinking about what's to come.
What about from an academic standpoint? What are you interested in? What are you going to study there at Texas?
I'm either going to go into law or business. And I know the Macomb School of Business is, I think, the #4 business school in the country. It has an amazing track record. You've had guys, obviously, like Macomb's come through there. Dell went there, and just huge success from entrepreneurs who now have huge billion-dollar companies. I think that's really appealing. Seeing that I could learn from people that have succeeded in the business world and the financial world. And then from a law standpoint, their law school is also very good. And I would just love to be able to study something that I love in such a beautiful town.
Wonderful. I'll bounce back and forth between things here, Coach, but with regard to recruiting, are people still knocking on your door? You looked at each other. Has something happened today that I don't know about?
No. I think that's just how it works. Last year, one of my best buds, Eoghan Davis, was committed to LSU, and then USC came and flipped him. So last week I got a Utah offer. I've been hearing from Oregon. I've been hearing from USC a little bit. And I really appreciate them all reaching out to me, but they know that.
But it's kind of funny that now they're coming at you after Texas offered you. You think that's a coincidence?
I think that a lot of schools who I hadn't talked to before hadn't realized my timetable for committing was so soon. And so they thought they had more leeway with pulling the trigger.
So looking back in the material that I read about you, last I heard they had you rated as a 3-star.
Yes, sir.
You have a problem with that? And Coach, talk about the star rating system because like you said, he's got tremendous upside.
Oh, the star system doesn't measure that, the heart. It doesn't measure the daily progress that a kid makes, the commitment that he makes to the program, the articulate manner that he handles himself, the character that he displays. Okay, the stars are based on a bunch of camps that you go to, and some guy's eating a cheeseburger and times you in 4.22, and he really's not sure, but he puts it down on paper. The good recruiters like Steve Sarkisian, like any one of the great coaches that I work with, Nick Saban, they deep dive these kids and they choose the best, not based on stars. I don't think they could have cared less. They look at his potential, they look at the program he's coming from, and then they make their decision. And in Eoghan's case, we were communicating while he was in Austin, and I said, look, if they offer you, you can buy 24 hours and come home and talk, or just go for it. When he said they've offered, I said, you going to commit? He said, yes. And I said, go for it. It's his dream school. I mean, he kind of, alluded to the other schools, but that was where he wanted to go. And we only have so many times and so many opportunities in our life to fulfill our dreams. Let's face it, that's a dream. Go for that dream.
Absolutely. So, Eoghan, based on your discussions with Coach Sark and other people around the Texas program. What are your thoughts about where the program is headed?
I think it's going nowhere but up. One thing I noticed at Texas was a lot of the GAs I met were former players who had played for Coach Choate or Coach BK or Coach Sarkisian, and that really showed to me that the coaches have a loyalty to the players and the former players, and they create an environment that players want to be in even after they graduate. And so that showed me what type of team they're going to build and how much the players are going to love to be there. And then just from talking in a scheme standpoint, it sounds amazing. Obviously, Coach Sarkisian's an offensive genius. I think and he brought Coach Flood with him from Alabama. So I think the offensive front is going to be tremendous. And then watching what Coach PK did at Washington and before that at Boise State, and now with the extreme amount of talent that Texas has in their roster, I think they're going to do really well.
So what kind of players is Texas getting in Eoghan Kerry?
Hard worker, that's for sure. They're going to get someone who watches a lot of film and who's going to be the first one in, the last one out.
Coach?
Oh, exactly. I mean, that's him to a T. And the recruiters at Texas have done a great job, and Sark will take care of business. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. The tradition's already there. Okay, the Saturday, atmosphere and the big games in Texas is already there. Rick, you and I know it's not the plays though; it's the players. You got to get guys like this, and you got to get men that'll represent the university, that bleed the burnt orange, and then just let it go, because it's gonna, they're gonna have success.
So, Owen, one last thing. One final message for Texas fans. What do you have to say?
Hook 'em, baby.
Well, show it to me. There you go. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. Good luck to you,
Awesome.
Owen.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rick.